Thank you.
Oh, this meeting's being recorded. Leave meeting. Just kidding. Cool. All
Hide
right.
my face.
My name's Anonymous. Cool. All right. So my agenda for today is just to catch up with you all on Rose questions, and there's a possibility of a code challenge towards the end. But so yeah, what kind of questions do you all have for me today?
Rachel, let you go first because I think me and Joe are a little ahead. So
Okay, no, that's fine. So I'm working on. Okay, so I went ahead and I took the time and I started off my project. I'm getting I've gotten a lot of the basics in. Like the skeleton is pretty much done. I haven't started building the user yet, but I think that's just for me that's going to be pretty easy to throw in next. But I wanted to try and work on the many to many relationship, and I was actually confused, and I wanted to make sure that I was understanding this right. So is it needing to be a many to many through relationship that we have to do, or because there's also the has um has and belongs to many, and I don't know if that's what the many to many. I thought that was the many to many, and I don't know if I'm mistaking what
No,
is
you
the
need a
what the
many to
actual.
many. You need a many to many through, so you have a join table.
Okay.
Yep.
So because I created a join table, but I did the has many belongs has and belongs to many join table. So what I'll need to do is to drop that back and change that. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I started to work on it. And I was getting there, and I was like, I think this is wrong.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. And the join table just needs one user submittable attribute, so something that they would
Okay.
fill out in the join table.
Awesome. Okay. I think that's my question so far. So I'll open the floor up to Wes and Joey.
Joe, you want to go first or what?
I mean, it doesn't matter. We're both pretty on par. I have a few things. I think probably the number one thing is our like the nested form checkbox
Hmm?
we have to do. We have like articles, comments, and replies, but they're like news sources. So we're thinking about doing like maybe you can apply for subscriptions for the news sources, and that would be like a nested form. Like as far as like signing up for a user and like editing the user, you could throw in like a subscription for nested forms.
Hmm?
So between that, I'm not sure.
So is that just like a boolean, or like you're saying like a checkbox, or
I'm
Yeah.
figuring checkbox thing would probably be the best route for that.
okay? And is it like an on and off kind of like a boolean, or
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like I'll subscribe to TMZ or
okay? Yeah, I mean like that would work, and that would be your join table, or
I think technically our join table would be the comments table.
oh okay. So yeah, comments would have content. So yeah, I mean that sounds fine. So for nested forms, are you like stuck on it at the moment? Like, do we want to look at it, or are you just making sure it's okay?
Curious on maybe like the approach, like a good way to tackle it.
Okay, gotcha. So if it has like pre-filled data, it would be kind of like, it'd be, let's see, is it a many to many kind of thing?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, can you share your screen?
Yeah. So like the way I'm thinking about it is like user has has subscriptions, has many subscriptions.
Okay.
And then yeah, I think it'd probably be a many to many, and then subscriptions would have many users as well, because you would probably have to
And you'd want a checkbox for each subscription?
for each source of the article. So like there's TMZ, CNN, all these sources here. So
Got
like we'd probably while they sign up, they could check box like what they want to subscribe to, what sources they would want to subscribe to. So there'd be a nested form within the user sign up page.
Okay, so those sources would already be created, meaning they have. So when you think about the many to many relationship, if a user has many subscriptions, there's a thing in the association where you have subscription IDs plural, and that's an active record thing. If you add those IDs to that array, then it will make the association. So yeah, open up Rails console real quick and I'll show you.
Yeah, we wouldn't actually need a table for it though, right?
Shouldn't need a table. Maybe might need a table. Let's see here. What's yeah, can you show me like the subscription? Do you have a subscription table or no?
We haven't even started it yet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Then that one might be that might have to be its own model then. Has many subscriptions in order to keep track of it. So technically, like think about like loading up a game without like let's just say you're playing like a D&D or something, right?
Yeah.
And if you're playing D&D, like if you don't keep track of your items, then you're not going to know what items you have next time you play D&D, right?
Yeah.
And think of that like storing that in the database. So for example, if you want to store the subscriptions and keep track of that, it needs to be stored somewhere. And chances are that's going to be a model and stored in an active record, where the user would have many subscription IDs, and each of those IDs would be a primary ID of a subscription.
Right.
That array. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So when we're filling out the form, it would be like form for user and then fields for subscription, right?
Subscriptions, plural.
Subscriptions, yeah.
But you could do collection checkboxes. There should be Rails and Rails collection checkboxes, and that should actually automatically do it for you.
Yeah.
So let me send that to you as a link in Zoom. Yeah, navigate to that real quick.
Let me actually do it this way because I'm lazy.
Cool. So when you look at the collection checkboxes down there, it takes in, you can ignore where it says post because that's your form for post, but you would start out with author ID. So author ID would be, or author IDs, sorry.
Subscription IDs.
So it'd be subscription IDs, and then the author.all. The reason why it's like this and they start out with posts is because they're not using it off of a form builder. So without a form builder, you'd have to pass in the object. But with the form builder, you can skip that first argument where it says post. So then you would say author IDs or subscription IDs, subscription.all ID, name, subscription.name, or maybe like just name, which would be like name of that subscription.
Source. Yeah, we have source.
Yeah, or name of that source, yeah. And then and then from there on out. But basically what that's gonna do is it's going to give you in your params like user subscription IDs. But if you already have, all you have to do basically is just make sure that's in your strong params. It's really simple to use. If it's in your strong params, then it will automatically just set it as long as you pass in those strong params. Because active record actually gives you that method. And if you set those subscription IDs to an array of IDs, then it'll do it for you.
Cool.
Yep. So that would be your approach that you would want.
Pretty
awesome.
easy.
Yeah, not too bad. Rails has a method for everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay. Another question for you. With partials.
Mhm.
Can I share my screen real quick?
Wes had this brilliant idea to refactor all the code into PowerShell before it was done. Brilliant.
For me, it makes it easier for me to read. Joey likes to refactor everything at the end, but oops, that's my YouTube video. Let's see here. Okay, so I made quite a bit of partials here for forms and other things that I was rendering on the page. So my question is, what is convention with partials? Is it okay to use partials for login and sign up? Would that make sense?
Partials with login and sign up. Yeah, that makes quite a bit of sense. You can technically split sign up and login into its own form, but it's a little tricky to split it up because your sign up might have more fields than your login.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way that you'd have to do that is you'd have to check like if you're in login or if you're in sign up and do like if else conditions, which if you're doing that, then you might as well just yeah, you might as well just like I don't know, you could do it that way, or I mean no, I think maybe like separating them might actually be better because then
Okay.
you're just going to add a bunch of logic into your views, and that's something you don't want.
Would you still would you render the logic strictly on the page? Because I don't know where else you would use login for besides the one login page. So
Yep.
would you need to make a partial for that? Is that convention to make a partial even though it's not needed?
A convention, probably not, unless you have multiple of that. Like usually with partials, it's a way of extracting everything. But if you have just a login form, the
Yeah.
only thing that I can think of for having it as a partial is if your login form is a part of another page.
Okay, that's so when you're do not repeat yourself. That's the whole point of it. Got
Right.
it. Okay.
So login and sign up, those similar. Like usually login is a lot shorter than sign up because with sign up you're signing up all the fields. Um, for your all's project, I mean, like if it's a very like if you just have a username and password, and then login only has a username and password, then yeah, you could make a partial because it's basically the same thing, just different routing. And then
Yeah.
you can use locals with partial or partial with locals in order to change like the URL that you're sending it to, maybe what the button name is, etc. Uh,
Okay.
that would be a way of making it a little bit more dry. But convention, no, your signup's usually going to have a lot more information on it.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I have. I have first name, last name, address, date of birth, phone number, username, password, and email.
Yeah, then I wouldn't even worry about it because for you to make it a partial, you're gonna have to heavily add logic to your views, and
Yeah.
that's something you don't really want to do. You don't really want to add a ton of logic to views
Okay.
as much as possible.
Okay, so next question for partials is this partial here I have I'm nesting other partials inside of it, I guess you could say. So it's underscore comments, it's displaying the username, the comment content,
Mhm.
delete, edit, and then within here, I'm rendering a reply form.
Yep.
Um, and then outside of that, I'm rendering the replies.
Uh-huh.
Is this okay to do?
100%.
What's up?
100%.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if I had to
That's
use
definitely
yield or
something
something.
that we do. And that's something that we'll do a lot, especially when we get into Riyadh, because we have a parent that has children, that their children has children, and their children's children has children, you know. So that's totally fine to do. Sometimes that's just, I mean, you're breaking up code, but then you're breaking up code even further, and that's totally fine. It's easy to follow along too, because as long as you can find like that parent file, then you can just, oh, this is rendering partial and it's here, so we can go there. And if it's rendering a partial on that one, then we can see where it goes to. So I mean, it's fine. It's just it's making your code clean. So
Okay, cool.
When the see how the article comments each like that iteration there.
Mhm.
I think what we were thinking of was maybe putting that into a partial and then yielding. I don't think there was like a lesson on it.
There is. It's render at comments. You'd have to set comments in the controller instead of saying article.com. Oh, but this is already a comments iterator. And I'm guessing you're rendering this partial with article, which is fine. But basically, when you render and then you have the collection, you can render like a comment partial as well.
Right. That's kind of what it looks like, but it's
Yeah, I mean, it's just that you have the iterator in there, but you can actually do it. Basically, it's going to do the iteration for you and just take out, but you can keep it in there. I mean, like, it's okay to have iteration in your views because a lot of times you can't get around that. That's something that's very common in Rails programming is saying like, okay, we're going to iterate over it here. And some developers prefer it there like that instead of using like a collection rendering just because you can visually see it.
right.
So and it tells a lot of other developers, hey, we're iterating here. So per comment, we're doing this.
So this is okay.
100%, yeah.
Okay.
At that point, it's basically like if the developer wants to do it or not.
Okay.
But either way, there's going to be iteration, and either way, there's no performance boost for making it partial.
Okay. We did one over yield. Is there a way to track user activity? Would you need a database?
User activity.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to add the stats to the user. I mean, it'd be kind of like, how would you track? Okay, so you're all like a bunch of gamers, right?
Yeah.
So how would you track stats for a character? Like increases of stats. Just let's think about that for a second.
Just do like how we incremented in the legends thing.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
for
you'd have to save it in the database.
yeah,
right?
save the database. Okay.
It's the same way for user tracking. It's just different stats.
Okay.
So if they visit a show page, once they go to that show page, if you wanted to track like, there's a couple of things like if a user's show page got visited or something like that, every time a user visits that show page, then find the user that they're about to view that page of and increment that stat and save them.
Okay.
See how that works?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, not all the time are we just updating in the update action. We're updating all the time, usually. So
Okay. That makes sense.
usually it's with JavaScript. We don't do it as much in Rails.
Yeah, I
Right.
figured it'd be easier with JavaScript.
Yep.
Unless anybody else has any more questions, I was hoping maybe you could just do a walkthrough, like a quick walkthrough of the sessions controller, maybe like, or Omnioth.
Sessions controller, yes. I mean, we can deep dive into Omnioth. I'm not like set up for that yet.
Okay.
I mean, I'd probably use like GitHub to do it. I mean, I could walk through that. But as far as Omnioth goes, do you want the hard way or the easy way?
The easy way. Oh, one more thing before we get into this. Devise. Are we allowed to use Devise?
That's the easy way.
Okay,
I'm
sweet.
I'm actually going to be teaching that.
Oh,
Oh,
sweet.
cool.
Eyes?
Yeah, device. I actually have a cheat sheet on how you can customize it a little bit too.
Nice. Okay.
Ooh.
Well, what's
So if you're already there, I'll go ahead and send it to you all. Like, give me just a second. Device. cheat
so
sheet.
like this stuff's not off limits.
Yeah, device is not off limits. A lot of us instructors teach it. That's kind of legacy instructors because we learned it back in the day and we had to use it a lot. And it's still a great tool. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's used. Well, I mean, like I looked at, I was looking up like Omnioth and all that kind of stuff, and on YouTube, just kind of get an idea of what we were getting into and stuff like that. And like everyone was using Devise, so I feel like it's used big throughout the Rails community.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, There you go. This kind of shows you how to set it up and everything.
Cool.
But if you want a quick tutorial, I can set up device in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Let me share my screen. And we'll just create everything from scratch too.
Sweet.
Save this.
Okay, let me go to practice. Okay, cool. Rows G new. Wait, what am I doing? Okay, rows new device practice.
You were just trying to generate a new project, that's all.
I was the wrong way. This is how you break roles. So how was your weekends? Did you guys have a good weekend?
Yeah, I watched the I don't know if you're big into UFC at all, but I watched the Conor McGregor fight. That was pretty good.
I used to be big into UFC. I used to want to do UFC back in the day. I used to do Aikido. And
Really?
yeah, I used to do martial arts a lot. I did a lot of kendo too, which is like samurai sword fighting and stuff. But I had
That's
weapons
sick.
and katanas and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. It's my
Alright.
younger days. I'm too old for that now.
I used to do Carketo.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm waiting to get into Hapkido too.
Yeah.
But cool. Let's see
Too
here.
old, Enoch. You're in your prime right now, dude.
I wish.
As soon as you hit 30, man, it starts going downhill.
That is
Yeah.
prime. 30. Actually, when you're 30 as a male, it is your prime.
How old do you think I am?
33, 34.
Nope. Gotta go up a little bit.
I'm not gonna keep guessing up. Dude.
Yeah, I'm 35. I'll be
Oh, 35.
56 this
Oh,
year.
it's not
Oh,
far
okay.
off.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But okay, so new app, right?
Yeah.
So like the first thing that you want to make sure that you have is of course device. You don't have to worry about adding bcrypt, and device does use bcrypt for us.
Sweet.
But yeah, just add gen device, bundle install. Cool. Once you install it, you want to do rows G device :install. You want to install device. That'll basically create like an initializer for you here. So you're gonna see it pop up right there. And this is your configuration. So you can actually choose where you want to send your emails. Like if they have like password confirmations or anything like that, or account confirmations, that's where when this comes into play. And then like usually it's based off of email by default, but you can change that if you wanted to use like username instead. Let's see here. There's a place down here where you can change like how long their password is. And reset password within 6 hours. Yeah, there's a lot. And also omni-authable is here too. So you can
Nice.
choose like how you want to do omni-auth. Let me see here. Yeah. So right here, basically you comment this in, and then we could choose GitHub, your app ID and secret goes here, and bam. So it is usable with OmniAuth as well, which I'm going to teach both. I'm going to use Divide. I'm going to show everybody how to do it from scratch. Basically the same way that we've been doing it with bcrypt, and then I'm also going to show Devise. So I'm going to do both, which is why Thursday may or may not be project prep. It might be OmniAuth, and I might just show like, okay, this is how you log in and sign up on one day via like standard and device. And then the next day I might show, okay, this is OmniAuth with standard and this is OmniAuth with device, so that you have any which direction you want to go. Anyways, device is basically set up now. So if I do rows G device user, that's going to create a device user object. Break DB migrate. migrating the database. So what I did when I did ROSG devise is it created this for us. So we got our table, says email, encrypted password, reset password tokens, and that created at, if we wanted trackable or to confirm accounts, we could comment this stuff in, or locking accounts if they don't log in multiple times, then we can lock their account if we wanted to, because it could be somebody trying to hack. And also what it does is it creates a model here with all of these things. So this is a macro that we're passing in the options that we want. We can also add omni-authable, and that's to add omni-auth into it. Cool. But I can run this, and just to show you, that's yeah, there it is.
Sweet.
Wow.
Is that it? Yeah, that's for sign up. Let's sign up for an account. So test@test.com. Test, sign up. Cool. And we actually do have a user. If I go to Rails console right now, user.first, here it is.
It's sessions created.
Yeah, yeah, sessions is already there. It's like if I do current user, oh, I can't do it from here. Okay. Actually, I have to be, let's make a root route real quick. So that's the wrong app.
Wait, it makes a current user for you as well? A current user method? Oh
It
my
gives you current
goodness.
user, it gives you user signed in, like all this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, let's make a static folder that we can actually see that in. So rows G controller static. And then we'll make like a home action or root. Views. That way we can at least see it, and we can just add all the links to it if we wanted to. But we'll go to views, static, home.urb or html.urb. Perfect. Hello world. Cool. Refresh. Okay. Nothing's broke. Routes. So it also gives you a bunch of routes as well. But root to static home. Cool. There's that. We'll go to layout application. There we go. We'll add a nav bar here. So nav ul li. We'll add 3. So we'll actually add 4 so that we can see the users' names. Let's say if user signed in, and this will be our signed in links. So we'll have, if they are signed in, we want to look at their username. So we'll say current user email. Just we'll add a else, because this will also be logout. So we'll say link to logout, destroy user session path method delete. Cool. And oops. There we go. Put an else here and here. Let's just save that real quick.
Is this okay to do that?
User signed in. Whoops. Yeah, it's okay to do that. We're just making signed in links, signed out links. But yeah, you can see like I am signed in. This is the email, current user's email, and there's logout.
Sick.
Yep. And then we could also add link to, and then we'll just do this and duplicate that and remove that. We'll do sign up, which is I think it's user sign up. Is that it? Okay, syntax error. Oh yeah, it doesn't like that. Okay, that's fine. And then log in, user log or sign in. I think that's the ones. I don't have it memorized, but if I log out, user session path. Okay, actually that would be so actually this is new user session path, and this is uh so once new user session, and then which is actually this one right here. What is that one? I completely forgot. I think it's new. Let's just do this right now, and then I'll go to rows routes. Rows info routes. So new user session is the get for user sign in, and then
Sign up as new user registration.
Yeah, it's that one right there. Yep. So we'll just copy that, paste that in right here, save it, and then we'll say, oh, we don't have to say anything. Okay, let's go back here. Cool. So we can go to sign up, log in. So we can go back to test@test.com, test, log in, and it remembers us too. And we can log out, sign up another account. But yeah, user account creation is completely done.
Where do you see all the methods that it provides, or is it just documentation online?
Documentation. So you'd want to go to devices GitHub. Device GitHub. It's this one right here. And if you scroll down, you can actually see the thing on the methods. But go down to getting started, gen device, generate device install. You can add this if you want to under config environment development IRB. This is used for emailing if you wanted to do that. But then you do rows G device model, which I did device user, rows DB migrate, and then I started. Authenticate user means that you can basically a user would have to be signed in order to view these routes. So if you used like a before action on a controller that all of them has to be logged in, then this would be used.
Could that be used for like editing? So so I can't edit somebody else's comment. Could I just do like before act like?
With that one, you'd still have to, because they don't know like which what device doesn't know about other objects just itself. Like it can redirect you if you're not signed in, which has something to do with sessions. And that's all, like you have to be authenticated in order to view these. But with authorization, that's a little bit different.
Okay, we'll be doing that this week anyway, right?
Oh yeah, oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, then there's of course sanitizing, where you'd want to add this instead. So in case you want to permit additional parameters the lazy way, you can do so using simple actions using in the application controller, like adding sign up keys username. That's just going to add the key here to it. But anyways, yeah. So these are the methods: user signed in, current user, user session. If you create a model with like admin instead, it would be admin signed in, current admin session. That just depends on the model that you generate as a device model.
Oh, so you can make an admin then. So how would how would you make the application know like the admin has certain access to certain things? Like if I wanted, I guess it would be validation, right? Through validations or
So it really depends because usually admin is not its own object. Usually it's a row. Usually you have like different rows that users had, whether it's like a guest row, maybe like a member row, or maybe like somebody is a like how you have like different subscription levels gives you like the users access
Access.
to different things. Yeah.
Mhm.
So usually those aren't like you wouldn't have like a different kind of user for each one, right? It would just be a row added to that specific user, which is the most common way of doing that. So I'd probably have like a row model that would be stored, and I'd have like different row models. So like I'd have like the admin row, maybe like platinum row, gold row, I don't know, bronze, if that's like the lowest. Um,
So like if someone
hardcore.
goes, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but when somebody goes to sign up and like you want them to be like, what would you add into the sign up if they were going to be an admin? Or would that be something that you would have to change?
Yeah, so it depends. If sign up, would you want the user to be able to mark themselves as an admin, or would you want an admin to mark them? Because a lot of times that is done in the console by a developer to give them access, or you have your own like admin portal to do that. And that's just updating the user.
Like how would they do it for like a cohort lead? Like obviously you guys see things different on Learn than we do as students. So does somebody like make that like on the other side, do they like give you the power to be a cohort lead, or do you have to sign up and you put in like a code for a cohort lead?
Usually that's done with hidden menus.
Okay.
Like basically as an admin, you can go to an admin page of like add role or something. I've actually done some. I actually built an app for Flatiron that does this.
Oh,
uh but it's basically what I had to do initially when I first started is I built it. I gave myself in the terminal access to admin role, right? I assigned it manually through the console, and then that made like the rest, like basically kind of like we did in the links here.
uh,
Like if user signed in, if user signed in, and maybe I'd have like a nested if or else. If admin should display these links, otherwise display these links.
okay. So yeah, validation, right? Like that'd be considered validation or
Not validation, but authorization. I'll be
authorization.
authorizing
Yeah.
this user to be able to view these links. So
Cool.
so if they're an admin, they might see add row or uh, like search user or something, more of the more admin things.
Okay.
Create newsletter for like or a news article for your website, that kind of thing. And then but for add row, basically what that would look like is you would do a search for a user, and usually that would take you to another form. In that form, based off that user that's currently there, you'd have like it'd be more of a custom route, most likely, like an add row custom route that has maybe like a either a checkbox where maybe you can have them as an admin, but also as a user, but also as that. If you wanted to combine rows that they could have, or maybe if you need to select them, like admin has access to all, guest only has access to this, etc. Um, then you could do like a radio button, or you could do a select drop down, etc. But that would be most likely a like a like either it would be a form four probably to like a nested route, or it could be just a standard form tag that you are handling the params a different way. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean it's a little bit more advanced kind of things. Like you're stepping away from CRUD a little bit, which is good practice. It's good to see that,
Stretch goal.
but at the same time, it is a little bit more advanced.
Yeah. Stretch goal.
Stretch go, absolutely. Stretch go and a new branch.
Okay. Okay. I think that answers most of my questions for.
Um, one more thing. That's how you get your views.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
So
Generate the
if you
views.
wanted to go and style all those things, that's the new form.
Jesus.
Sweet.
What did Charles say, dude?
Huh?
What do you mean?
We were talking to Charles last night, and he had a really good question. And I was like, oh, I'll remember. I don't need to write it down, and now I forget.
I asked all the questions that he asked too, so.
But yeah,
Um,
device you can totally use on your projects if you wanted to.
cool. Good to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's freaking awesome.
What while you guys are thinking about that other question, I have a question. So what can you throw to me as a bone for researching how like personality quizzes would work, or like what should like what's an example of something to look up to kind of make something like that work?
Personality quizzes? Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, where it's like, yeah, question prompts answer depending on what you choose prompts this response.
So that one would be easier probably with JavaScript.
Okay.
Without JavaScript, I would say that you'd have to have like, usually those have like what, 5 to 10 questions that it asks down to
Yeah.
the next one.
Yeah.
But then you could think of like visually, if we
Yeah.
were looking at something like that, we'd have like a form here. We'd
Mm-hmm.
submit the first answer, go back, do something, come back with like another form,
Okay.
right? Uh, that's a great question. Like, so based on the first question, you would have to find you'd have to have like a bunch of questions. Maybe, I mean, you could get it to work, but it's going to work a little bit different than you would
Yeah.
usually.
Okay.
But let's just say like these are subsets of questions, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
a question like this, like this, like this, and like this. Let's just say it's a 4-part question,
Okay.
right? And each one of these has like each of these is like tier questions, maybe like maybe you have like a different first question based on randomization,
Okay.
right? So you could do question dot first, or no, question dot tier one maybe would be like a scope method you'd have, and maybe your question would have like different tiers on it. Like,
Okay.
is this a tier one question? Is this a tier two question, tier three question, or tier four question?
Okay.
And like, let's just say each one has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something kind of like that, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then this would be like the solution, I guess you could say, like based on the personality.
Yeah.
So if they answer this question, then you want the tier two question that matches the tier one question response. So you'd be like question dot tier two, where tier one it matches this. Like maybe like this has like the tier of one,
Mm-hmm.
but tier two might have like another stat of like previous tier answer or something
Okay.
like that, which would have to match. And then maybe like down the road, like it'll match like different ones, and that would be like the response.
Okay.
Something along those lines would maybe work. I don't know.
No, that's great. That's helpful because I honestly was looking at a couple different things and I was thinking about very short, like not very long, and even some being just one question. And with one, you pick one thing and it's going to come up with an outcome of whatever you pick is going to outcome with this. And so, but there were some that I was thinking about doing like multiple questions, and I figured it would be good to ask and see. I like examples. I like to be able to see like how it works. And so if I was thinking about doing something like that, I just wanted to, yeah, to see how it works and what
the
kind of
other
principles to look at.
the other way that I could also think of it is with the same tier thing. Maybe you have like user dot uh like a different thing, like different stats for the user, like user dot sympathetic, user dot angry, user dot goofy or funny or whatever, something like
Uh-huh.
that, like a stat system. And as they answer the questions, they could get like points to that. and based
Okay.
on which one gets the most points, the result
That's
of their mood
okay.
or personality could be like angrily goofy.
I
I don't know.
like that though. No, that's great. That's a great example.
Yeah, like if it match, if you have like the same amount of points in like angry and the same amount of points in goofy, it becomes like angrily goofy or something like that. I don't know. Like you can kind of mix them up or something. But that'd be
Okay.
like one other way you could do it, and just like randomize the tier one questions, randomize the tier two questions, and then it wouldn't have to lead into the other one like that. And I think that one would probably be a little bit easier to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. That's very helpful.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. What else?
I mean, you answered all my questions. I don't think I have anything else. Maybe like a refactoring question.
Uh-huh. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, let me see real quick.
Okay, let me unshare mine.
So I get to actually watch you refactor this time.
Probably not. But, all right. So in our controllers here, a lot of the time, like I'm getting article, comments.
Oh yeah, that's not dry.
Yeah. So can I like put this? Could I like make would I make this a private method where I could set like all the instance variables? Because they're kind of like, well, I guess it wouldn't really.
Yeah, so you have like at comments equals article.find params article ID dot comments. First of all, article dot params article ID, is that something that you'd usually have with a find method? Because that's the nested resource, that's the parent resource, right? So technically, instead of like requerying it, having at article equals article that find params article ID inside of a method gives you access to add article. But I see why you're doing that, because you're checking first if params article ID exists. But you could also check first if params article ID exists anyways inside of that method before you assign that variable. And then there you could just say if at article. But that'll save you from querying over and over again. And that's something you really don't want to do.
So you're saying do this if article.find.
Yeah, it's better to do a find once than do a find multiple times, because you're querying the database each time. And it's, imagine that you have millions of records, right?
Yeah.
Now, if it's being indexed and cached, it might be quicker the second time around, but you're still querying and it's still going to take time.
Okay.
So as a performance thing, you'd want to do that once and set it, store it in a variable. And then once you have that variable, then you can just check that variable. If something exists there, then we're going to do like at article.comments.
Yeah. Okay.
Or since that's being repeated also, if article, uh, so then you could say at comments equals uh, article that, or at article dot comments.
Yeah.
And then you could have that like, you could have that all in one helper method if it's used on that, or you could just I don't know, but for the most part, yeah, you want to make that as dry as possible. Bring it into its own helper methods, etc., and do it in before actions. So make sure it's in the order that you would normally call them.
Okay.
Yep.
I think
So at article equals article.find params ID would probably be within line 39, right? Uh,
within.
we can do this off of let's go ahead and we'll do this one together, and that'll kind of give you like a pathway of doing it afterwards.
Okay.
So let's go create a helper method that's going to do that.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, just call it like find article or something. Cool.
Oops. That's not what I want. And we're gonna do this. Right?
Yep. But yeah, and that's basically it. And then we could say if article. But we could also, you see where those comments are? We could have another one that's called article comments right after that.
So you're saying,
No, underneath, we could make another helper.
oh, another helper. Okay.
Cool. And this one, we would set at comments to at article comments, but only if at article exists at that point. Cool. Now you can do a before action. First find the article and then do article comments in your before actions. And make sure, so yeah, there you go.
So I would do, I make another one, right?
Yep, so that would be find article and then only the ones that you're nesting.
Right now I'll just do index and I'll figure out what else I'm doing later.
Okay. And then right underneath that, you do the comments. So it'd be article comments.
Find comments.
I'm pretty sure that was article comments that we called it.
Oh, okay.
Cool. And then now in index, let's see what all we can take out. We can take out line 41 and 42.
Wow, look how dry it is. Can I put this above here? I think that'd be okay.
Probably, yeah.
If article, well, actually, no, I think I'll put these in here. Oops.
So right now, article is going to exist if article params ID exists, right?
Yeah.
If article, then we're going to make the comments. So if article exists, then we're going to run that. Otherwise, add comments is going to be something else. And we're just going to render.
Okay, so now go to articles.
Pop the methods in, right?
Huh?
Don't you have to pop the methods in?
I already, no, because I did the before action.
That's right.
So yeah. So this is new comments. Submit comments.
But divide.
So far the index is working, right?
No, not yet.
Article comments. Add comments equals article dot comments if at article dot exists. Exists doesn't look like it's a article objects. So you could just say if at article though. You don't have to say exists. Yeah. It's either going to be nil or it's not.
Okay. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, this is the show. This is the index. My
Cool.
nested root. Yeah.
Does that cover the nested row checkboxes?
Yeah, it's articles, ID, and then comments. I think that's it.
That'd be the index of the comments, but a nested version of it, like a
Yeah.
nested. We'll be covering that tomorrow.
But it does satisfy it, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And then you'd need a new nested as well.
Oh, we need
So,
a nested new.
a nested new, yes. If you go back to the here, I actually have the requirements up. Let me, where I had the requirements up. I guess I don't anymore. Let me bring it back up real quick. And let me share my screen. Go can you all see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So if we go to phase 3 and towards the bottom. So down here, you must include and make use of a nested resource with appropriate rest of your rows. You must include a nested new route with form that relates to parent resource. So this is something along the lines of, like, let's just say we have this new form. I'm just going to create one in static that, but we're just gonna, it's just gonna be an example. I'm gonna delete it. But let's just say that we were creating like a new, oh no, a new post from a user, right? So we had our form 4, and then we had our post do F, and then end, and then we had like a div here. Inside the div, we had like F dot label, maybe we had like a title, then maybe we had like a text field for the title, and then maybe we had content as well. And this one would be like a text area. So if we had something like this to make it nested, let's just say we came here because you're familiar with how to do like the nested get route, right? But for a nested new route, you'd want to do the same nestedness to get here. But for the form, we would do something along the lines of this. Or maybe you'd have like current user. And this would actually post to a nested route where we have the current user and the post for the form 4. So that we're gonna touch up on this tomorrow, I promise. But basically the only thing that this changes right here, like this looks like, oh my gosh, this is like doing so many things at the moment. The only thing that it's doing is it's changing the URL where we're posting. Like the form builder is still based off of the post.
Right.
So what that's doing is it's going to users ID post
Yep.
ID create or new or something like
that. That's the method in the action.
Okay.
So usually we'd be posting the /post, right, for the create. Instead, we're doing it like this. The great thing about it is all we have to do is find the user and create the post off of this user ID. Or we might just have the user ID that we could just pass into the post if we wanted to, with params user ID and make the association that way. It kind of just unlocks it, but essentially what it's doing is it's just showing ownership for this object that we're creating.
So can I share my screen really quick? I know we only have like a minute left. I just want to make sure I understand what you're talking about.
Yep.
So what we're doing is user can create a comment. The comment is nested within articles.
Yep.
So should we do user and then comment nested within user, and then we could do like user comments and have it, oh wait, I'm sorry, this isn't it, right here. So form 4, this would be like user comment.
Yeah, and then basically you have access to the user params user ID in your controller action.
Sick.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
So let me confirm with everyone to see if, like you do, if you have your new form for the join table in an index somewhere, if that's okay. Let me confirm with the roles group on that, and I'll get back to you on that just to make sure that that's going to pass requirements, or if they're going to make it to where you have to get to the form via a get route. Because first and foremost, you want it to pass the requirements.
yeah.
Because like I've had a lot of issues in the Sinatra project. A lot of cohort leads had reached out to me because I had some students that kind of went a little off the guide of the requirements, and then that kind of led to some issues with some cohort leads. Like it was okay with some cohort leads, and then it wasn't. So
Well, what I could do is literally just make the nested route and just render a comment a comment form within like user ID comments new or something like that, right?
yeah, you could just have like an off the wall form if you wanted to.
Yeah, just to pass the requirement.
Just to pass the requirement, and then afterwards just delete it.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah, that would totally be fine too. Be like, oh well, I mean, I have that here too, and then but that's just for the project, just to make you all happy. So,
Mhm.
but cool,
Best
Okay.
pod meeting so far.
cool. All right. Well, is there any questions before I let you all enjoy the rest of your day?
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Y'all are amazing.
it.
All right.
You're
Well, thank you
awesome.
for coming. Oh, thank you. Well, you all enjoy your Mondays, and I'll see you for tomorrow's lecture.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Take care.